back to Drum and Drummer. I'm Nate, and guess what? We are interviewing none other than Berlin's own Magro. Yes, Magro, an awesome and talented and hardworking drummer and producer in Berlin. He is playing with Leona Berlin and producing for her as well. Um, he just is always playing around the city. I met him back when I lived in Berlin, kind of kept in touch over Instagram, and was thrilled when he also accepted to do an interview. So I kind of pick his brain about the big picture stuff, how production changes drumming, or kind of the thinking about the bigger picture of music changes your drumming. We talk about drummers versus musician drummers, very interesting, and all sorts of other good stuff. And this is only even part one. In part one, we're kind of primarily talking about this musical perspective. Part two, we're going to do a little bit more where we're talking about some technical drummery, more drummery stuff. So without further ado, the Magro interview. Here we go. Enjoy.
Mathis Grossman. Hey, what's up, dude?
What's up, man?
I was thinking it probably makes sense to kind of tell everybody how we met and how I know you.
Yes.
Do you remember when we met?
I think one of Kenny's gigs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere outside in front of the stage or something like that, right?
That was it. My buddy Kenny Wesley, our mutual buddy, who's a dope singer in his own right.
Yeah.
I was actually doing like video stuff for him, and I can't remember. I think I was trying to go to that gig to make some recordings or something, but weird stuff happened, and I didn't get there till after the concert. So you were just hanging out, and I was sorry that I missed it. But we had a great chat about drums and music and all that stuff way back then. I guess I should also mention that was in Berlin, and that's when I was living there. I lived there for around 3 years. So yeah, awesome. And then I remember coming out to some of your gigs and stuff, and just liking how you played, and just digging the whole Magro world. One of the things that differentiates you from other players is the fact that you're also a producer, and I definitely want to kind of dig into that. But let's just talk a little bit about just the good old background work. When did you start? What made you want to start? Was there a one clear moment where you're like, I have to do this, or was it kind of over time?
I mean, like, my parents are both classical musicians, so music was around me all the time. We had a grand piano, a lot of percussion instruments, flute. I was just doing stuff with music all day, and
okay.
listened to every CD I could get. And in our house there was also one dude living who had some, I don't know, I think it was George Duke or some stuff, and I was also listening to that and Santana and everything I could get. And then I discovered the Beatles, and I was crazy about the Beatles. Like, as a very small kid, like from five to 8, I was only listening to Beatles all the time. And my mother, she's a pianist, and she had a big book with Beatles songs, so she put on that book and played all the songs, and I was drumming on some drums I built myself. And then later on, when I was like 10 or something, or 12, I got a real drum kit and lessons, and then I started playing with bands. And I was in a very cool music school who also offered like big bands and combos, smaller bands, and that was very cool. So I was making music all the time, and I started very early, like just playing at home with my mom some Beatles songs in our versions. That was my background, kind of.
Dude, that's awesome. We just had Paul on, and he was kind of mentioning how you guys kind of came up together, and So I take it that Daniel Messina was one of your teachers.
Yes, yeah, man. He changed my life really, like, because he got that. I mean, Paul basically told probably, yeah, he told a lot about him already, and I mean, I'm very lucky, like teacher wise. I had always like very good teacher. I feel like I had always the right teacher at the right time.
Mm,
And what Daniel, for example, you mentioned him, he showed me like real that technique with a big foundation. I don't know actually any drummer personally who has like that clear vision and ability to explain the technique real like from scratch on. And I started with him when I was 17, and I had like lessons like 3 or 4 years. And with 17, I changed. I learned my whole technique again from scratch because like yeah, it was so good. And since then, I never had any like issues with pain here or like what
mm.
some people have. Like yeah, and he really is deep into that molar. You say molar, right?
I would say Mueller. Other than Daniel Messina, are there any other instructors that you kind of felt like really opened your eyes?
Man, every teacher actually, because like my first teacher, he was a classical trained drummer, and I mean, he was my first teacher, and he showed me so much on the drums that I never heard before. So it was like at that moment, it was like mind blowing. And I mean, I can name a few teachers. Like my first teacher, what was Raphael Sommer? Was it?
Mm,
Yeah, the second one, Lars Binder. He's also a German jazz drummer playing around everywhere.
okay.
And he really showed me the jazz thing and prepared me for university. Yeah, he was very good with that. Also, like training me to improvise over standards and stuff like that.
Mm,
Um, and then another, yeah, game-changing teacher was Hendrik Smok, who's also friends with Paul now. Yeah, I mean, he's like kind of the Questlove of Germany, I would say, in some way. He knows so much about music, and that influenced me like so much. Like he just showed me like what is the important music. I mean, for it's always every person has a different view, but he really showed me like what is important. He introduced me to, I don't know, so much crazy good music, Prince, D'Angelo, whatever. Yeah, I had no idea about music, I would say, when I started at university. So yeah, he really changed my view on that. And then besides those people, I occasionally took lessons with some big American drummers from time to time when I could afford it, or they were around, or I was in New York, or yeah.
and so in these days, who are you kind of digging the most drummer wise? Your top five, top 10, I don't know.
I mean, in these days, so I can tell like my two biggest influences, like I was really listening the most and knew every YouTube video that existed. It was like Vinny Colaiuta
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and Chris Dave. I
Mm-hmm,
like blew my mind. Like, and now it's Justin Tyson,
mm-hmm,
yeah, and Marcus Gilmore. I mean, those guys like out of this world, like combining that gospel world and the jazz world. I really like the combination of both because both are so powerful musical languages. And yeah, the jazz, I feel like the jazz brings the deepness and the gospel brings like the power and the spirit.
mm-hmm.
So I really love that combination. That's why I love these guys. So yeah.
I guess what I really like is the fact that we can be influenced by our peers as well. And Paul was mentioning you as an influence, right? The fact that um, we can at any concert we can find something cool about what someone else is doing and say, hey, I'm going to try that, or I never thought about it that way. When did you start kind of producing or kind of considering yourself a producer as well as a drummer?
I mean, it started when I moved here to Berlin 2015. So I finished my studies 2014. Then I went to New York for a few months. Then I came back, and then I decided, yeah, I go to Berlin for a while now. And then I moved here. Like I did literally know, I didn't know anybody actually. Like I was totally by myself. So, but before I moved here, I mean, I was drumming a lot, playing a lot of gigs, and with working with bands. So it went like from being busy all the time to nothing, like don't not knowing anybody. So my girlfriend Leona Berlin, with whom I'm also working with. I mean, you know her, and yeah, she produced like like since a lot of years already, and she said, yeah, just start producing, man. And yeah, I just started doing it, and I was always working on my own music and writing songs for the bands I also played with. So I just thought, okay, I used that time here, the starting time where I don't know anybody, not just to practice, but also like having a musical output. For me, it's always like even more important than drumming, you know. And
Yeah.
yeah, music is for me, yeah, it's so important for me. So I had to produce just to have a musical output some way, and make a music, create a music, even without not knowing the right musicians yet, that sounded the way I want to have it sounding. So that's still, and it turned out now that's still the process. Like I produce like most of the tracks 100% myself, and then I bring it to my band, and they make it live, but the basic sound I create, and then that's really my sound now. So yeah.
How do you think having the producer hat has changed your perspective as a drummer? Like, do you ever find yourself behind the kit and playing something and then thinking, I should do this, or I shouldn't do this, or this is going to work well on a track, or has it changed your perspective as a drummer?
Yes, it definitely has. It's very interesting. And I mean, sometimes I can hear it when I play with other musicians who also produce or not produce. And I mean, it's not a rule or something, but sometimes I really can hear if somebody's into producing or not, because it gives you another perspective on music. Like you more listen to the whole thing and think more in patterns. I mean, that's what it changed to me. Like also playing less sometimes, like sometimes just playing a beat and really being confident with that being enough. And I mean, everybody comes into that thing, like sometimes you play a beat in a slow song and you think, oh no, I have to do something, but actually it's totally perfect. So that producer thing gives you more confidence in that, I would say. Yeah.
I'd be curious, because you're working so closely with Leona, this thing about, drummers versus singers. I feel like it's kind of an ancient an ancient rivalry or battle or something. But
Yeah.
I don't know, just your perspective on that relationship between the drummer and a singer.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like I think, yeah, drummers and singers are the most important people in a band. I mean, depends on the music, but when we're talking about vocal music, definitely, because like the singer is the bridge between the band and the audience, and has to connect that. And the drummer, if he uses his tools powerful, he can really grab all musicians into one thing and connect it with the singer. And if you really follow the singer well, you're able to focus all the time and follow the development of the music with the singer. I mean, that's where I think that's like one of the most important things, definitely. And on the other hand, but can be everything. I mean, can be like totally going with the singer or giving the singer like the opposite, that she or he can have a strong foundation or something. I mean, I really had to learn it also, like with my timing, because yeah, sometimes I was really listening close to the singer, and sometimes they rush, or sometimes they uh, go more laid back with their feel, and then
Mhm.
yeah, you really have to learn what you have to do for that the music knows the music gets the right thing, or yeah, the singer also, like yeah.
What we're kind of starting to talk about is being able to feel out the whole environment and be like aware of the feeling of the audience, or what's the mood at this time, and play appropriately, right? Because
Yeah,
you can play whatever, but it's just got to be at the right time.
yeah, and I think that's like the difference between just being a drummer or being a real musician, like, because I mean, I can, I mean, I know drummers who are like technically much better drummers than me, but if they play with a band, I mean, something else. I mean, for example, Questlove. I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen him also last year with the Roots, and the whole evening he was playing like no big fills, like
yeah,
nothing, like the beat and the flow and the deepness of the music and everything was so out of this world, you know. And
yeah.
that's like the understanding of music. That's what makes everything. So that's why it doesn't matter at all if you have crazy chops or not. I mean, we just think that, and the audience also thinks that it matters, but at the end, if the music is right, that's everything. Yeah.
So it's interesting also because just like Ringo, Questlove, I've never seen any drummer who's like, a drummer's drummer be like, oh yeah, Questlove, top inspiration. Um,
But the real cats would say that, man. Chris Dave would definitely say that.
oh yeah,
Or
yeah, it's true.
I was recently having a lesson. You know Christian Lillinger?
No,
I mean, for in my perspective, he's like the, I don't know. I don't want to categorize anything, but if you say so, like that, to understand his level, like he's the best drummer in Germany, I would say. Like check him out. Like that's next level. Like it's really deep. I mean, it's not groove music or something. It's really crazy advanced jazz music, modern music. But yeah, and for example, we were speaking about Questlove, and he says like, yeah, Questlove's so amazing, and he's doing that and that, and that's why he's so amazing. I feel like people who are come from more the musician side and are also great drummers, they really would say Questlove. But all right, I mean, you don't hear like Questlove so much more. It's like, ah, yeah, Eric Moore and Mike Mitchell. Of course, they are like out of this world and are musical on top also. But yeah.
we learn all these tools, and we definitely need them. Like, okay, when am I going to do this? When am I going to break out the 16th note triplets and this and that? But we sometimes lack the information of how it maps to an emotion, or how it maps to the bigger picture. And I guess what it is just that information is out there. You just have to kind of keep your actually something that Paul said from the last interview, where he's talking about if everyone's really listening, um, keeping their ears open, you can kind of make magic happen.
Yeah, you just have to get that information. I feel like I don't know, I feel like in the States it's different, but in Germany, like in big parts, that it's not so there. I mean, like you got to know it from somewhere. I don't know, but I feel like my experience, I mean, I really cannot judge on that because I was not living long or wasn't so much in the States, but I felt like it's more like making music is more a tradition, and people tell other people like what's important and how to listen. Like I feel like until I had my university teacher, like major things I did not know yet.
Mm.
Like what is a breakdown and
Mm.
stuff that really can change the whole game of making music, and it's crazy. Like or when I get a new student and like quarter eighth notes, like most of them are not able to play that but already play paradiddle. I'm like, why are you playing paradiddle but don't feel like slow and fast? And these things like of the basic and important elements of music, I mean, yeah, if you know them, it's so powerful, and it's on the other hand very easy, and people just have to preach it and be aware of it. I think that would change a lot.
Those are awesome words to close out this episode. Once again, thank you, Magro, for the interview. And yes, we do need to kind of spread the word about playing music rather than just playing drums. I think that's so important. I'm glad that he said all the things that he did. Hey, if you're interested in following him on Instagram, you can find him at Magro_music. That's his handle, at Magro_music. If you're interested in taking lessons from him, you can hit him up at booking@magromusic.com. Magromusic.com is also his website. Check it out. Check out what he's got going on. And also, of course, you know, it just makes sense to like this video at this point and click the subscribe button. If you've made it this far, you might as well. And what's most important is that you just stop now. You just close your computer. Like I always say, stop watching YouTube. Just go play some drums. It's going to get you better at the drums. It's going to get you as good as Magro if you do it a lot. So just stop watching, start playing, just get time on the kit, go play the drums. That's what it's all about. Go play the drums, put your favorite music on. Or hey, make your own track, start producing. Go for it, just do it.
If you are able to have the metronome on that tempo and then playing subdivisions between the